right. Make a motion that accept the agenda for Scituate Board of Health, Monday, April 29th, 2019, Selectmen's Hearing Room, 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, scheduled items. Discuss and vote septic system design hearings 14 and 14A Marshall Ave. Review comments of septic system upgrades design planner with owner's request for installation of a septic system requiring local upgrades and variants. So,
So right there is okay?
why don't you come up and state names?
Chief, grab a seat right there.
Pull your seats out, or whoever needs to come up.
You can sit right there, room. That's good. Yep.
Just need to state names and
Hi, I'm Bill Hornberger, and I'm here tonight with a couple of people. Rick Grady, our engineer, is here, who will be speaking mostly. The owner, Keith O'Callahan, his manager, Rue Graham's here. And what we're here for, I'm going to let Rick get into this, all the details of this, but as everyone's aware, the voyage it's done very well. It's an integral part of the community over in Humrock, and I think you're going to hear from several people who realize the importance. It's not the same situation, but it is a similar situation to Jamie's Pub. It is the restaurant for the area, very well attended, very good situation going on over there. What's happening is, right now, there's some upgrading and reconfiguring, reorganizing the interior of the first floor to make a more pleasant atmosphere for the patrons of this. And so that's basically what's here, and I'm going to let Rick talk to that. But basically, we're not looking, everything has already been built that's there. And what we're looking for is the approval of some variances and some upgrades. So, Rick?
Thank you, Rick Grady from Grady Consulting. We were involved in this property back in 2005, and we designed a system at that time that included a 1,000-gallon grease trap, 3,000-gallon septic tank, and a 2,000-gallon pump chamber, and then a series of 4 leaching trenches, 80 feet long, 2 foot wide, 2 foot deep. I'm sorry, 3, yeah. So the design of that system, it was designed for a total capacity of 1,000, designed for a leaching capacity of 1,878 square feet. With the reconfiguration of the space, we're going to eliminate some of the retail component, maintain the apartment on the second floor, which is 2 bedrooms, and rearrange the seating to have 37 seats in the restaurant, 15 seats in the lounge and tavern. The design flow for this is 1,815 gallons per day. The existing leaching system, which has 1,875 square feet, has a capacity of 1,389 gallons per day. Soils in the area are excellent, less than 2 million-inch percolation rate. And with a 25% reduction to the required size of the leaching system, which we feel is appropriate given the good percolation of the soils, the system will have sufficient capacity to handle the 1,815 gallons per day of total flow. Again, that's broken up between the 2-bedroom apartment, 37 seats in the restaurant, and 15 lounge tavern seats. The restaurant component is 35 gallons per day per seat. The lounge component is 20 gallons per day per seat, and the apartment is 110 gallons per day per bedroom. So with that, we feel that it does have sufficient capacity without the need for any additional construction. The existing system would remain as it is today.
The one thing that Keith asked for my attention is, one of the things is they do have a very large coffee business there. And so just to let you know, it having to do with the water flows, which are below anyhow, but a lot of that coffee is not going into the system. It's going in someone's car with them.
okay.
And so they have that, and also the nature of the business. Although it's a year-round business, 2.5 months a year is the lion's share of when everyone makes their due for the year. So I just wanna bring that to you.
And is the apartment all year round, or is it just?
Yes.
Okay.
Range totals, reduction septic tank size requirements, and allow single compartment septic tank, and local upgrades here.
No, you just have to say we want
I really don't know, but I don't, it's just,
Anyone that wants to speak?
Yeah. Good evening. My name's John Danahy. I'm at 75 Barker Road. I just wanted to come forth and just say that, here's a business in Hummerock, which, there are very few businesses in Hummerock that are able to survive. It's in the business district, and I obviously am here to support it. But the reason is because, this is a situation where you need to kind of think about what's in the best interest of the businesses, because if the business doesn't survive down there, then we might as well just turn it into a residential area. And recently, there's been an outcry in North Situate, and I know the Board of Selectmen dealt with a restaurant up there, Jamie's, reducing its rate for septic cost, because the people want to make sure that that business survives. And in the same way, I think this is equally as important as Jamie's, because it keeps another section, business section of the town of Scituate thriving. And I just would, I appreciate your consideration of it. It's very important for you folks, but also for the applicant in order to maintain their business, because if it doesn't survive, 3.5 months, 3 months, or 2.5 months, 3 months, it's when they make their money. It's so hard, as you very well know, the rest of the year. So,
Right.
and I think they've done a great job as far as taking it from what was more of a store into, it's more of a restaurant, but it's a local restaurant, and I liken that to where I live. I live in Sand Hills, where somebody had taken Sand Hills General Store that's been around there for years, since 1880s, but they've turned it into a community area, and I think that's the same thing that the Voyage has done, and I just, again, wanted to speak in favor of it, and just want to say thank you for your consideration.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Mark Davis, I abut them. I own the commercial property across from them, and I support them wholeheartedly, so.
Okay.
We believe it's great. I think they've started a revitalization down there that the rest of us can kind of look at and follow. I think it's a good plan, and I would suggest that the town supports it.
Okay. Anyone else?
We do have the abutter notification list too, everyone was making,
Okay.
we got them back.
And anything you guys have? to add?
Nope.
We did a review on it. We went back and forth a few times with the engineer, and the reviewer has no comments
Okay.
as far as the plan goes. They're doing the best they can with what they
Mhm.
have, the space, the capacity they have for that lot, so.
that's what it is. It's a shoe one. Made it fit. Awesome. Move to approve the septic plan at 14-14A Marshfield Ave, parentheses, pending approval of the Scituate Zoning, Building, Planning, and Conservation Commission, end parentheses, with the local upgrades requested that include, number 1, CMR 15.405, 1B, reduction in system location, leaching trenches, setbacks to cellar wall from the required 10 feet to 6 feet. Number 2, CMR 15.405C, 25% reduction in the required subsurface disposal area design requirements. And with the following variances requested. 1, CMR 15.223, reduction in the septic tank size requirements. 2, CMR 15.224, to allow a single compartment septic tank.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Do you want me to make copies of those and send them over to you, or?
Nope, I just wanted to have them here in case you needed them, in
Okay.
case someone asked for them.
Perfect.
That way
Very
you're all
nice to
set.
meet you. Thank
Nice to
you,
meet
Bill.
you, okay? Take care. Good luck out there. Good luck, all right?
Okay, discuss and vote private well, 182 First Parish Road, Lemare, homeowner requesting a variance from the town of Scituate private well regulations. So if you guys like to come up, state your names.
So this was continued from the last meeting.
Right.
You had requested that we look at the 10 Grasshopper, which was the variance that we gave for sodium only. So you did give them a variance for sodium only. And I have the file here.
Okay.
They did go back, they looked at doing a filter, but they were gonna have to put a backwash system for the sodium, so, and that was gonna be very costly, but they only had sodium, so, you approved just sodium for them.
Okay. Do you have the letter? I don't know if Russ saw it or,
The letter?
For here.
Oh, sure, yep, I have their letter.
I know we had that
But
last
some
year.
was
Yep.
emailed the other day.
Yep, we have it here.
Just to bring us up to speed.
Oh, sure, thank you.
So they did a well testing on October 16th, 2018, the sodium, the iron rock, and and one of the organic items was off as well.
Was it the-
If you look at page,
Iron.
yeah,
If I remember that.
so,
Now, I know there's 3 new homes there that were built, right?
Yep.
Where is the setbacks with the, is that on town sewer or no, or are they septics?
Septic.
We're all septic.
So are the septics like setback in the backs of those, or yours are all in the front?
It's in the front. So the well is already there.
Okay,
Oh, well, that's how we got the water.
Yeah.
So it was all to spec, so the well is in the backyard,
okay.
so.
So the
Is there
septic,
a plan?
mhm.
Uh-huh.
and the septic is in the front?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Well's over 300 feet deep.
Okay, so wells here and the septic's
Yeah.
in the front.
Yeah.
And do you know if the other 2 houses, are they, their septics are in the front too, probably?
Well, here's the original plan, they should have it written on here.
Because I know that there's a lot of woods behind it. There was, I don't know when it built. There's no woods.
But-
So there's
well,
supposed to-
There's still a buffer
there's
of woods
supposed to-
behind.
Right, and then there's
Yeah.
houses from that side.
Can't
How
go
far away they are.
Much better plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all the septics are well,
Away from the well.
yeah, here's your 200-foot radius, and that's what we're looking at, the 200-foot radius?
Mhm, yep, exactly.
Oh, that's cool, gotcha. So I think myself, we set these regulations up for protection of people if they happen to ingest well water. But I don't think our concern was basically with sodium or iron, it was more with septic. And I don't think I'd be apt to grant a variance, although, I mean, we're close here. We got one within the 200.
The back road.
Yeah. And that's the problem I have, is, and that's within the 200 feet. The whole thing is, when we did the regulations, we had a lot of people come in and a lot of discussion back and forth, pro and con, and there was a lot of people absolutely against irrigation wells. I have no problem with irrigation wells, but we actually had a well driller come in from Marshfield who had told us a story about a young gal in Pembroke who got sick from an irrigation well. And basically they were playing in the well, they were playing in the irrigation water. So it's a hot summer day and the sprinkler's going and they were playing in the sprinkler. And it was contaminated, she got sick, like bad sick. So it was the well driller that brought this to our attention. And as he said, I'm in the business of drilling wells, this is how I make my living. I also don't wanna make people sick. So I gotta make you aware of it when we were designing the well regulations. And that's where it came from. And it was kinda done, like I say, he couldn't have put it any more blunt. And it's his business, and he actually was regulating his business down to not as many wells as he could. And for good reason.
Did they get sick from the sodium or the iron though? Or-
No, it's all, it was,
What happened is there, like this house, for
Yeah.
example, leaked into your well, and it was contaminated with septic. And then your sprinkler's going off, your people are going through it, and that's how they got sick.
yeah, I don't think they were actually literally drinking it. It's just you're playing in it, your mouth's open, you're screaming, you're this, you ingest a little bit. And, the thing is, like the last case you just saw where we granted variances, it's an existing building, it was an existing business, and you've gotta make the best you can with what you have. If we write a rule or regulation and we all of a sudden start to grant variances on it just because, then what good is having the rule or the regulation? Because the next person that's gonna come in and says, well, your well is too close to the septic system, but you granted the variance for someone else, we don't really have a leg to stand on. Some boards will say it's a case-by-case decision. Me, I think if you do it for one, you have to do it for everybody. That's right. So it's almost to the point where you have to say, the line's drawn where the line's drawn, and unfortunately, the 200-foot line that I look goes through the leaching field. So I know it's on the outer extremity of it. What are the chances of someone getting contaminated? Probably slim to none. But the rules, we did a lot of research when we wrote those, a lot of research, and we let it go back and forth. I'm gonna say probably, it was a while.
Yeah, it was a good six months.
Easy, and we had everybody come in, pro, con, I mean, it was a good debate. It was a good debate. And I think the thing that sold the board the most was that well driller.
Right.
Like I said, he's in the business. He could have told us, this is ridiculous, 50 feet, it should be 25 feet, who cares? You know, put wells in, everybody deserves a well. But he didn't, he
So is the issue not with our water results, but the fact that the radius
Of the 200.
of the 200? But didn't we have to get this approved before we even started, before we even drilled?
That was the approval from Jen. So, she did have, there was a revision made to it, but that is the one that was revised, and that was the one that she approved.
Our regulation is 200 feet, right? Yeah. I don't know what she was
It's a
looking
200
at.
feet.
But like I said, if it was just a pure simple fact of sodium or something, I wouldn't be worried about it, because I think, again, if somebody got irrigation water on their lips and they ingested a teeny little bit of extra sodium or iron, I'm not a doctor, but in all reasonableness, I don't think, and even in the letter here, I think it says that,
Iron is the odor.
yeah.
right, it's gonna have a worse taste and it's gonna have an effect on you.
Yeah.
And I get that from a standpoint, but it's the idea I'm having a hard time of looking at it with the 200-foot setback.
And that's kind of where we were looking last week.
Right, and
That actually didn't come up in the
We
last
didn't mention
meeting?
that at all.
Well, no, and that's why we wanted this here, so we would know where the other, I did mention about, we had that, the guy that was in
Yeah.
here with the well.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to see where this was
Okay.
compared to that. I mean, If it was nothing back here, and your well's there, and everything's up front,
Yeah.
that's a slam dunk. But with these back here, that's where
Yeah.
is the. is
Yeah, and the hot pot is your own septic system is even closer. I mean, that's within,
We got the approval to do the well, we drilled it, to a good amount of expense.
So this had to have been, this was known at the time because the engineers come out and we had to submit a plan and the permit.
is it 200 or 100? That's, because they fall without the, outside of the 100-foot line.
I think it's 200 to, I don't have it with me, but I think it is. Well, what you could do, we recommend, well, this is what we recommend. We recommend they do another analysis because our regs say that we only have one analysis here from October. And so our regs say that if anything's off, they're supposed to do another round of them and then compare. So this was done, because this was done in October, that's, we could suggest that you do that and then see what those come out to be.
But just saying, $880.
And, you know, when people come in and they get the permit, you know, that we give, we tell them to do their homework, because it's everything's very costly putting in a private well, so, and we do have to follow, you know, the regulation that was put in place by this board, so I worked 2 years on them, so that's just our suggestion, so.
Is that what the original test for the water samples cost, is $880
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for a?
Because it's
Yeah.
the whole slew of
The whole slew,
everything
yeah.
that you
It's the
could test
DEP,
for.
yeah, that's what we asked for do the DEP.
And the two things that come back, even the DEP site says they're not a health
Yeah,
hazard
sodium
for those.
iron, yeah.
So,
So, I'm new, but is there a way that this could be granted? And I don't know if you're gonna like what I'm gonna say, but contingent upon, I know we're concerned about any leakage from the sewerage fields into the well water. Could they test it at the high water mark every year, at like, say, April or something, when it's, to see if there is anything leaching into it, or
They
is
do have
that?
to do, we have to do tests
They have to
with the
do
new
that
regs, they
anyway?
have to do tests every single year,
Okay.
once they have a well, they have to be done, and it's usually spring, because it's the.
That's the
year
high,
that-
yeah.
Before people are starting to use it.
And I don't know whether or not you can detect it, but then that's a huge expense for you every year just to water your lawn, and I don't know if that's worth it either.
Yeah, they do have to be tested every year.
So if it has to be tested every year, no matter what, I don't know if that gives you guys any, you know, reassurances that at least if we do grant a variance here, which we don't really want to do, but they're coming up with safeguards to at least look at future down the road, high water marks in the spring. If anybody's gonna be out there playing on the lawn or anything else, you're gonna get those results in the spring before they even have a chance to turn it on. So if we do find something, we can say, look, you can't use your sprinklers this year or something. And I'm not sure.
Can I make sure I understand this again too, is the issue is with these people's septics, the groundwater from there leaking into our well?
Yes, and our septic too. I gotta review I've got to review the regulations again.
Okay, because I still am very concerned that this was approved knowing that this was the circle.
Yeah, understood. Now you're before the board, so I gotta become, I understand that 100%. Yeah. That's why I think for me, or I'd like to review those things and see where the actual setback is and why it was approved. It does fall outside the 100-foot line. It's within the 200-foot line. And I'm going by memory, and I'm not gonna say any different. I've been so busy, my memory gets a little clouded up with other life's things. And
See, that's what I wasn't sure.
that's why we have libraries and different resources to look things up, because as an old math teacher of mine said, you don't have to remember every formula, you just have to know where to look that formula up. And this is one of those things that we know we have a regulation in place, and I can't remember the exact words of the regulation, but we can surely review it and figure out why it was approved, if there's anything in, well, why not? But, I mean, another 2 weeks' time, instead of making a hasty decision here on our part, sitting here. I mean, what do you think?
That, I mean, that was my reason for here, to get this, and then, where you were on the first part of the, well regulations, and then we did it this year. I just wanted to, I thought it was 200. But the thing we need to check too is, you know, about the approvals and.
Yeah, if it's within the 100, you're fine. I have no problem with it. I have no problem granting that variance for the sodium and the other thing for an irrigation well. Like I said, the biggest thing is it being far enough away from septic systems that it's not gonna be contaminated. And it comes right down to that well driller. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's the story that sticks in my mind. And that's where we all went, wow, here's a professional who's shooting himself in the foot for business to do the right thing for the general public and health standpoint. That's where we said, no, you got our attention. That you're right. I mean, we had people in here from the water resource that didn't want any wells, and you know, we thought that went too far to the extreme that way. But and again, this is a health department, so our main concern was health, and he strung a cord. Now I'm going to the third time repeating myself. He really did string
And
a
I
cord.
said the same thing last week.
Yeah, with that whole thing and the story of the gal in Pembroke, and I don't want to see that happen in Scituate. I don't. I feel terrible if it didn't. I was on watch. One of the reasons why I took the job is to maintain the healthiness of Scituate.
So if it is 200, but this was approved, what do we do?
I don't know. I don't know.
And you have in the office the approval and all that stuff of her, Jen's?
I just had that, I don't have anything, anything else in the file from her. There was just a comment that went back that they fixed that.
The scale was wrong with the
Yeah,
original
the scale,
drawing.
yeah.
And what was the price, I don't know, you got a price, for the filters and stuff? Was that really?
It's gonna be a couple $1,000.
Yeah. But did the filters even matter? Because the filters would be for the sodium and the iron,
Right.
not for the other.
Yeah, I mean, the 200 is the kicker.
Yeah, these rules are all over the place with different distances.
Is that the new one?
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not certain though. I don't have a date stamp.
I do apologize for any confusion, and I'll admit it, I'm not prepared. I should have probably reviewed the regulations before. But I wasn't sure until he came in, my first time hearing it. So in that case, that's why I'd rather continue for 2 weeks, so I can have a couple of minutes to look at it in private, where I can read it and study it and focus it. You know, talk to the agent, see what they say after they review it too, and say, was there a mistake made? Was there not? Are you okay at the 100 foot? I don't know until I review it. I'm hoping, you know.
Would that be fine with you guys? I mean, I know it's.
I don't think we
right,
have a choice.
Right.
You know?
Well, at least, nothing for nothing, and I don't mean to be funny, but at least we've had a wet spring, so it's.
Yeah, well, they haven't started the landscaping yet.
Yeah.
We're holding them off for a little bit, but
I gotcha.
we can't wait much longer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
So can we do that, put that on for next week, and then?
You just have to make a motion to continue.
Okay, and then we can get all the, double check with the wells.
Yeah, and I'll go through.
Do you understand where we're coming from with that?
I do.
Okay.
I just,
Yeah.
like I said,
This
it's
is the first time that
it's a
that's been
huge-
brought up.
It's a huge
Yeah.
issue if
The only
it
thing
was
that-
approved with the wrong radius.
Right, so, well, let's hopefully get to the bottom of it, it's a positive outcome for you guys. If it is what it is, you're hearing where I'm coming from, and I'm sorry, but we'll continue it, we'll do a little research, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. So, move to continue the requested variance from the water quality requirements, it's actually setback requirements as well, of the town of Scituate private well regulations, for 182 First Parish Road for the following reasons, I think just for further review for the meeting minutes.
Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. These yours, Joe?
Yep.
Thanks. All right, director's report.
Wow, my first one, huh?
Uh-oh.
So I don't know what you really look for, but,
Everything.
so, well, everything.
Yeah, what you been up to for the last 2 weeks?
Getting familiar with the town. I have gone through several of the restaurants, just introduce myself, let them know what's going on. We did hire, before I came on, a new food inspector, Joe Murphy. I was gonna say Walsh again. Joe Murphy. I actually sat down with Joe a couple weeks ago, went over everything what I'm looking for, and he is right on the exact same page that I'm on as far as restaurant inspections go. And my big thing is always going in and educating the staff in the back of the house. That's where the highest turnover is, that's where people come and go all the time. So Joe is on the exact same page with me, so I was really, really excited to hear what he's doing. He also does inspections down in Marshfield, so Joe looks like he's just gonna be just a super, super asset to the town of Scituate, so I was very, very happy in that respect.
And I love your philosophy on that, and especially this time of the year, because unfortunately, youth needs to be trained and tested, and this is the time of the year where we
Yep.
have a lot of youth coming into those jobs, and they just need to be trained.
It's all turnover, it's all training.
Yeah.
It's, you go in, and it's, hot food's hot, cold food's cold, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. I'm not looking for today's dirt, I'm looking for last week's dirt. You're gonna have a messy kitchen when you're prepping, but I always used to like to go into places first thing in the morning. So when they're turning the key to walk in, I'm walking in right in back of them. That way I can see how they cleaned up the place the night before. So that gives you a good idea of how they actually operate. So, yeah, Joe's gonna be a huge, huge asset. And again, it's all about the education. It's education, educating the youth, because they're the ones that are gonna be in the back. Even just doing dishes, you gotta do them properly. You can't have stuff splashing all over the place. They say one of the worst things you can do at Thanksgiving is wash your turkey in the sink. That's because all the splash gets everywhere. So, even dishwashers need to be trained. So that's what's going on with the restaurant part. We have 11 new septic systems coming in for review. 2 are coming in for revised plans, and we have 8 that are waiting for more engineering revisions on septic systems. No, not at all. And
Yeah,
with,
but I'm God outside.
yes.
Thank you.
One of the other things that we're looking for is Scituate has not adopted the Federal Food Code of 2013. So we're actually looking to adopt that in a future Board of Health meeting. And also, one of the provisions of the Federal Food Code is they've changed a few of the things. One of the things is a person in charge. Right now, every single establishment has to have a certified food manager in their licensed premise that works there. When that person's not there, he can delegate Joan as the person in charge. Joan did not have to take the Serve Safe class or anything, but the manager has to inform Joan of all of her responsibilities and everything that she should have known if she was going to be a manager. The 2013 Federal Food Code has changed, and it now states that there has to be a licensed food service handler on site at all times. So that means we're probably going to be looking at least, we have a lot of they're all family-owned businesses. We don't have any chains down here for the most part, except for Dunkin' Donuts. So all of these places are going to be looking to have 2 and 3 people certified. So we've already arranged through Joe, to have inspector or a teacher come down. We're looking to get a location here in Scituate. We want to do it as cheap as possible for these people. I know some places charge upwards of, $200-300 for a food certification course. If we can do it for $1.50, it's just more people that are going to be coming in to get educated and get trained. So that's one of the things we're going to be looking at this summer, is really trying to get as many people certified as we can. And I do have to say, I've only been here 3 weeks. Joan and Teresa are just absolutely phenomenal. They're so good, and they help me with so many things. And again, a lot of the septic is foreign to me, the other stuff isn't. But they've just been really, really excellent. Ralph, who also goes out and does inspections, another high-quality person that Scituate has. So you guys should be very proud of what you have down here.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we know. Yes.
You're right, Ralph's retired. Thank God for that, though.
You won't.
Oh, I know
No,
that.
you won't.
So that federal thing, is that something that needs to be approved by?
Needs to be, we'll bring it before the board, and then the board has to adopt it.
Okay.
Some of the minor changes that they've made are, hot holding used to be 140. Now it can get down to 135. Just very minor things. But the biggest thing is having a certified food handler on premise anytime the establishment's opened.
Okay. Now, is that something we have to advertise? Do we have to,
We can just
That's a
advertise
one
it,
meeting.
just advertise it as a pre-meeting, just the agenda 48 hours beforehand, and then you can just adopt it.
Yeah, after you adopt it, we can put I think we have to put a press release out after it's adopted.
have to put a what?
That press release out probably after it's adopted.
Oh, okay, yeah, so everybody knows, but you have all the licenses with the people, so you can kind of do
Right.
it. Has everybody got email? You can send out an email blast with just the restaurants?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I guess, yeah, whenever you want to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I mean, Yeah,
That sounds good, then.
All right.
yeah, if you think it's a good thing, then
Yeah,
I do too.
it is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I think it'll help in the long run.
Yeah.
Administrative invoices.
Ralph?
Oh,
I think it's had a busy spring.
oh,
Oh,
mine
come on,
comes in at the
sides.
end.
Sorry, I don't have the back part of that, I think that that's what Nancy was bringing me in.
Nancy's bringing the things on the slide here.
Gary Russell, is he doing,
Yeah, still doing perks, yeah.
I think I worked with him years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
big guy.
I think there's a lot of people in the field, but the circles are always crisscrossing.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere around that time, he probably reviewed something we did, or. With these, GlaxoSmithKline lines, is that?
Shingle shots.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because now we have a vaccine revolving fund. Eileen was able to purchase some shingle vaccine.
And we get reimbursed, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get reimbursed.
Oh, good, now we do those over at the new Board of Health office, or they do, okay, yep.
So they have them now?
The revolving account is a huge
Yeah.
asset. That's,
Right. No, because with my doctor, that was one of the things he said, and no one has it.
Well, yeah, that's a problem because she got so many, so she has to commit to every person, you know?
Yeah, because you had to take 2 6 months apart.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have gotten the first dose from, CVS or their doctor, but they can't get the second dose, so it's.
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, second.
All in favor? Aye.